And for the very first time in our new studios, the one and only Grammar Malone.
Hey, what's going on? Good to be here, people.
What's up, man?
I turn my volume down. Sorry.
So, wow, everyone really does have the day off.
Yeah.
Even me,
Even
right
Marcus.
now, at this very moment, I have the day off.
You're broadcasting from your hammock?
I am.
Right on.
nice.
Are you periscoping this, or we just did the other thing?
No, dude, we just periscope like the pre-scope stuff.
I don't know. We're trying this new periscope thing.
Periscope, man. That sounds a little stalker-ish.
Follow us on Periscope at Apologia Radio.
Yeah, it does sound stalkerish, doesn't it?
And you'll see us acting like we don't know what Periscope is and like just playing around and like holding the camera because we don't realize like we're recording. It's great. It's great. You should definitely.
Marcus does not like stuff if it's not professional.
I don't.
That's why we pay him the big bucks.
Make it professional.
That's right.
So, I got to tell you, right now, I really feel like I'm living like in the, like through the plagues of Egypt.
Because of
I'll tell you why. So, like, I've had, if you've been listening, been having a lot of trouble with my AC lately.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
I had to stay in a hotel last week because the compressor went on, all that. It's still not fixed. I'm still waiting a phone call. It was supposed to be coming today. There's like another blockage in the coils or something. So my house has just been like super hot, like all week. It won't cool down. And then last night, we found 2 scorpions in the house.
Oh,
which that's like the 4th and 5th of the year, I think. And
do not put your shoes on without checking them first.
Well, just wait. So I spray and stuff all the time, like in the earth, like all this different stuff. Like I've done everything I possibly can. And so we saw one last night and then I killed it, whatever. And we're like, all right, this is crazy. So then I go to bed and I'm laying in bed, about to turn the light off. Like I'm not asleep yet, about to turn the light off. And I feel something on me. And there is a baby scorpion crawling on my belly.
Ooh, doggy.
Yeah. I like jumped up and screamed like a girl. I was like, ah!
How do you know actually that? You said it was on your belly, right?
Yes.
How do you know you were not giving birth?
Stop it, Vocab. Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
It's a possibility. You got to consider everything.
Dude, I was freaking out, man. So anyways, we killed it, but then my wife, she didn't sleep. I didn't sleep, so I'm exhausted today and like laying awake all night dreaming of scorpions. But we have a 7-month-old. She's starting to almost to the point where she's crawling. She's on the floor all the time.
Right.
Anyways, I hate scorpions.
That's no joke. So what's your favorite way to kill them?
Any way I can. Actually, I go out like every night anyways with the black light and a little tiny shovel. I usually go out every night just to look for them because I'm killing them all the time.
You go scorpion hunting?
Yeah, I do. And
guys, those are God's creatures you're talking about,
dude,
just mercilessly.
You ain't seen one yet, son.
What is wrong with you?
I don't, but I haven't been seeing that many. So like, I don't know. All of a sudden, like,
if they're outside,
the house is infested.
You can set them on fire.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I'm just saying. I mean, you got to kill them somehow.
I have my shovel. I'll just smash them.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Their exoskeleton cannot withstand firepower of that
All right, Vocab, you're never going to be invited back ever again.
I'm not saying I do this sort of thing. I'm just concerned about my brother. Aren't we going to be talking about Christian love today?
Yes.
Love your neighbor as yourself. I don't want to get bit by a scorpion. Do you? So
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, we need to get rid of the Pharaoh or something because his heart's hardened.
That's why there's scorpions.
I guess I don't know. Next time I have frogs.
Because you chose to live in the desert, but yeah.
Yeah, so anyways.
Just because you can turn a desert into a garden doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Yeah, true that.
There you go.
True
That's what I've learned in Arizona so far.
Wouldn't that be like part of post-millennial,
that was very post-millennial.
Ecology or something?
Turning deserts into gardens.
Yep.
That's what Jesus does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Apologia, Vocab.
Hey.
Where we talk about hopeful things.
Good to be here.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scorpions are not hopeful. When are we going to take dominion over scorpions?
I talk about hopeful things too. I hope post-millennialists will interpret scriptures better. Oh.
Did I say you're never coming back again? Did I say that? I thought I mentioned you're never coming back again.
I just got to show that there's diversity.
Sure. Diversity.
Yes, there's a little bit of diversity.
And brotherly love?
Yeah.
Hopefully you didn't lose 2 people on Periscope because they can't handle diversity.
I'm sure we lost about 7.
Yeah.
So
we only had 12 and then 10 and then 11.
And they were probably all Kennist.
So will you now leave 2? Where else would we go? That's the end of John chapter 6 for those who aren't real Calvinists yet and don't know what happened there.
Sorry. Okay. So moving on, we want to talk about the behind the scenes Star Wars.
You want to
from
talk
Comic-Con.
about this?
Let's begin now.
Okay, let's do it.
That's awesome.
That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so you're the one who picked the topic. Although I must
Actually,
say,
Marcus picked it, but
okay, Marcus picked it. I must say that I distinctly remember one of the first times you and Apologia made fun of our radio show. You said, I don't know, Pastor Bob and a couple of Star Wars nerds. And since that time, I've noticed a steady increase of Star Wars talk into the Apologia diet.
probably.
And you have a Star Wars shirt on
I
right
do.
now.
I am
So
wearing
I'm
one.
just kind of wondering what's happening. And I'm now on Apologia speaking about Star Wars. So
I don't know. I don't remember saying that.
it seems like Star
I believe
Wars
I said it.
is hashtag trending. You
Yes.
know?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. From
You're not helping your case stay on our show. I can tell you that much.
hey, it's all right.
Well, we got 7 million views on this new YouTube trailer, which I think is really awesome.
7 million?
I think it's already up to 7 million.
That's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Wow.
And so it's great because it shows behind the scenes stuff and it shows the practical effects that are going to be used as opposed to just throwing all the actors in a green screen room for 6 months and making a movie.
Yeah, so there was a release of not really a trailer, but that little behind the scenes vignette, I guess you would call it, that was released at San Diego Comic-Con. SDCC for those in the know.
Did you go? You didn't go, did you?
No, I've never been to San Diego. I don't even know if I ever will. It's too Hollywood. I prefer the Phoenix Comic-Con. It's a little more homegrown still.
Yeah.
All the weirdos are still at the Phoenix one. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but they're weirdos from the block. So, you know what I'm saying? So I prefer that.
Right, okay.
But so they show this little vignette, and first of all, it's beautiful. It starts out being narrated and voiced by Mark Hamill, who's Luke Skywalker, for those of you who don't know. Also, Joker. He does the famous Joker laugh from the cartoon series.
Yes.
And it just makes a point to prove what you were saying, Marcus.
You said.
Yes, and the Trickster. It's true.
Do you think
From,
that Mark
Flash.
Hamill is more known for Star Wars or his Joker?
Star Wars.
Star Wars just because of Star Wars. And it's not just a voice, too. It's his whole, visage, as
Okay.
it were.
Because, every time I see him, I don't care if he says anything from Star Wars, but I want to hear the Joker laugh. You know what I mean?
Well.
It's like, Star Wars, okay, but get to the Joker laugh.
Right. You just want the punchline.
I just want the punch.
Well,
I am that guy.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I wonder how many people would follow you on that. But hey, dude, this is beautiful. By the way, this music
is
in the
awesome.
background. But so they show this, and they made a point to show how everything's going to be more grounded. It looks dirty again. It's not. It's not flashy, shiny, silvery. Glimmery. All of that stuff. It looks a lot more dirty, a lot more grounded, a lot more rustic, a lot more realistic. You've got TIE fighters that are, crash landed on the surface of Tatooine. It looks like all burnt out Star Wars wreckage. I mean, who can't like that? And it just looked good. However, I read in the Wall Street Journal that Batman vs. Superman still trended higher. It's kind of interesting. 2.7 million social media engagements for the new Star Wars vignette. 7.15 mil. But this is as of July 13th, so this is slightly outdated. But for Batman vs. Superman, and I think it's because Batman vs. Superman had a full-out trailer.
Yeah, and it was pretty epic too.
Yeah, but
What was that you had in your hand?
the Wall Street Journal.
What is that? Is that a newspaper?
You don't know what the Wall Street
They
Journal is?
still have newspapers?
The Wall Street Journal is
I know what Wall Street Journal is.
for people who don't want to read the USA Today.
I just didn't know they still had physical copies
Yes.
of newspapers.
Does it have ink on it, like actual ink on it?
Yep, it does.
Not like e-ink version?
No, it doesn't.
Wow.
Well, the way I got it is I walked outside one day and they just started showing up at my doorstep. So I actually don't know why I received the Wall Street Journal. It happened about 2 weeks ago.
Trying to get you hooked.
And someone started sending me Golf magazine. It has my name on it and everything. It says Golf. So I
didn't know you liked golf.
Someone thinks I'm a
Maybe it was Bob.
middle-aged white guy Republican because they're sending me Golf magazine and the Wall Street Journal.
Did Pastor Bob send you the golf magazine?
I don't know, but I've never golfed in my life. Literally, that's not an exaggeration. I played putt-putt only.
Yeah.
But I mean, so what else do we want to say about the trailer, Marcus? I mean, the vignette for the Star Wars behind-the-scenes
Well, I just
thing.
want to say that I'm really excited that they're placing so much emphasis on practical effects. Because that's like a big deal. I don't think people still understand. Like practical, I believe, I'm a firm believer, that practical effects are always better than CGI.
That's what we use here at Apologia.
We
Practical effects.
everything we do at Apologia Radio, I guarantee you,
It's practical.
is practical effects.
Part of the appeal of practical effects is because when you watch a TIE fighter, say, blow up on the screen, you know that somewhere in the real world, a little tiny TIE fighter actually got blown up.
That's exactly correct.
That is a beautiful thought instead of, oh, someone just hit delete on a computer program. They didn't
Bro, whoa.
I'm sorry, that Freudian sleep. But hey, G.I. Joe was also at San Diego Comic-Con, just so you know. They also did some
Surprised you
reveals.
weren't
There's going to be a team-up next year of G.I. Joe and Street Fighter comic book miniseries.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of odd, but kind of interesting. So that was one of the reveals for G.I. Joe, but I'll stay off that for a second. They also did a little Lego set, but it's called Creos, which are Hasbro's answer to Lego, of Sergeant Slaughter.
That's awesome.
It's freaking awesome. Look it up online.
He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. Yeah. Eddie's disease! That's one of his lines he says in the G.I. Joe cartoon. Eddie's disease! That's a real line we always quote in the G.I. Joe circles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you guys have all kinds of fun in those little groups.
So back.
Yeah,
to
we do.
So back to practical effects.
Yeah.
So I saw the
Like
new.
our green screen?
I saw the new Jurassic Park. The
Jurassic World?
Jurassic World. And it just didn't move me. Like, everyone was like, oh, man, it was awesome. It was great. And it made all this money in the box office. But, like, it just didn't have the same emotion that the first one had. Like, there's something about that scene, and you got the score playing, right? Like, and it's the anthem for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And then they're in the back of that Jeep, and he turns her head, and you look and you see these giant brontosauruses that still look amazing. And I saw it in theaters a few years ago when they re-released it in 3D, and it still looked amazing. Even though that was a CGI scene, it still looked really good. And now I feel like the CGI scenes are just kind of rushed and put together because they can do it really quickly, but they don't put a lot of time and energy into it like they did that one.
Sorry, man.
No?
I thought the end scene was pretty epic. The big battle.
Which is better, Jurassic Park or Jurassic World? You have to think about that. What is wrong with you?
Well, I'm getting.
What is wrong? You don't have to think about that question, man.
I'm thinking about how I'm going to respond to you. I was going to say Jurassic Park. I was going to say that, but I was going to say the reason is probably because we were young kids, and when you're a young kid at that time, that was a pretty epic movie.
You answered that question. Honestly, if you would have answered the question about the Trinity like you answered that question, I would have broken fellowship with you. I would have broken fellowship with you.
We're not talking about the Trinity. We're not talking about the Trinity.
Does God exist in three persons in one?
We're not. You know what?
Well, let me think. Well, I'm not answering the question. I'm trying to think about how I'm going to answer it.
Yep.
Vocab didn't answer it. Did you see Jurassic World?
Vocab wasn't asked.
I didn't see the second.
Oh.
I didn't see the latest rendition.
Okay.
Not that I do like the Weird Al parody, though. Have you guys ever heard the Weird Al parody of Jurassic Park?
Yes.
Jurassic Park is frightening in the dark. All the dinosaurs are running wild. Someone shut the fence off in the rain. I admit it's kind of eerie, but it proves my chaos theory, and I don't think I'll be coming back again. Oh, no!
All right.
No.
It's pretty good, actually.
Let me say this, Marcus. I never watched the third one, the third Jurassic Park, and everybody's told me not to waste my time watching it. And the other day it was on TV, and I was like, well, I'll just watch it just because I haven't seen it.
And you wasted your time?
And it was horrific. Like the dinosaurs were like the worst puppets. Like the raptor, they were puppets, and they were just terrible.
Barney.
I had to turn it off. Yeah,
Barney made a cameo.
It's like Barney with teeth. Have you seen it, Marcus?
I'm sorry, I was focusing on something on the recording.
He's not even listening.
This guy.
Sorry, I was doing my job. Go ahead.
Even. Did you see the third Jurassic Park?
I don't remember it.
You would remember because it's bad.
I mean, I definitely saw it. I just don't remember.
I was just saying how bad it was.
Is that when they did? Like, I saw like a movie critic that was like refuting that movie to how terrible it was, and they did like Benny Hinn music when the raptor was chasing like him around the building, and I was like, like that was awesome.
Wait, did you say Benny Hinn? Do you mean Benny Hill?
Yeah, he means Benny Hill.
I meant Benny Hinn.
What is Benny Hinn music? Because the only thing I was thinking of was like this. tie my bow tie, shit about a Honda, about a Kia, or something like that, you know? Like Benny Hinn music. But you meant Benny Hill.
That's
the old
no, I meant
English.
Benny Hinn.
Oh,
Benny
that's
Hinn music.
funny.
Okay.
So-
That's hilarious. Yeah, the third one was the only one that Spielberg didn't do, I guess, and it was terrible. It was just bad. Anyways,
Well, so but they're not releasing, I guess, another Star Wars trailer, I think, all the way until the fall. So we gotta you gotta wait off for that. But the big other thing happening, and there was some Comic-Con related stuff with this, is Marvel has got back the Star Wars license because for a long time, Dark Horse and some other comic book companies had Star Wars. Because when Star Wars first came out in '77, they actually had a comic strip, like a daily black and white little comic strip, and also they had the books. But then Marvel lost the license, and Lucasfilm, gave it to other people. Now it's back on Marvel. So what they've done is wiped out the entire previously existing Star Wars canon. It's all considered Legends now. That's the official categorization of it. So everything that's happened prior in the expanded universe, which Star Wars fans call the EU, is all Legends. They give it this little thing that means it could have happened, could be based in truth, whatever. But now they're starting over. And there's all these Marvel titles of all these different Star Wars books. There's got to be like 10 different Star Wars books that are all starting. They just all started like within the past year on number ones.
So what you're really saying, Vocab, is that we could see a Star Wars Guardians of the Galaxy collaboration movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could do there's all kinds of stuff they can do, especially because Disney, they own Marvel, they own all this stuff. And so who knows what they'll do.
Colliding right there.
I mean, a guy the other day was talking about making a Jabba the Hutt trilogy based upon like the Godfather series, which made me go,
Did you ever see that Parks and Recreation behind the scenes clip with the guy and like he was told he had to filibuster and like so the camera guys were like, well, just give us something to talk. Just talk about something.
And he does the Star Wars
and he goes
rant.
on this 8-minute tirade on Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, that guy was.
It's the most, I can't think of his name, but like Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he was definitely being led by the Force.
Yeah, but he mentioned how the Star Wars universe and Avengers could come together. I believe in that 8-minute diatribe.
Yeah,
and it had to do with like alternate dimensions and rings from like the Green Lantern or something.
But so now everything is no longer canonical except for the movies themselves, and I guess Clone Wars. Like I think even the animated series is considered canon now. And everything else is just Legends, no matter what novel you've read. So they're even in the novel world, everything coming out now is new canon. And they used to have this guy, he was called the Keeper of the Holocron. He was the guy that would try to keep the continuity straight. There'd still be, little contradictions here and there. And they're still trying to do that again now that Disney has it. But it's interesting because when I think about that, I think about how difficult it is for humans, even while things are happening around them. And they're even having some say-so in charge of what will be written and not written, how difficult it is for them to keep storylines straight, chronological, and true, and match and not be inconsistent. Yeah. And then you think about Scripture, and you think about how it's 40 different men over 4,000 to 5,000 years. Some of them never communicated with each other, and yet there's a consistent theme unified in Scripture and how it's still woven together, a majestic tapestry without some guy trying to keep it all together because it's God's story. You don't have to do that, and yet it still fits. And it's really an amazing testament ultimately to what the Scripture is.
Did you see what Vocab just did there?
Jesus juked the entire comic book universe.
Straight jukery right there, dude.
That is fantastic, brother. And we were supposed to go on break 5 minutes ago. So we'll be back with more Apologia Radio
and
after
Jesus
the break.
Jukes.
And Jesus Jukes. Thanks, Vocab.
Welcome back to Apologia Radio. This is the Bear in studio with Vocab Malone and Marcus Pittman.
King Ginger.
And we're listening to some Ewok rap.
Straight up, bro.
Straight up.
Ewoks are gangsters, bro. I mean, they wear hoods, right?
Yeah.
They live in the woods.
Yeah.
Right? They wear bling bling, like those little tooth, those little teeth they be rocking. They got bling bling. By the way, let me help you guys out. When someone says the ones and the twos, they're referring to the two turntables.
Yeah.
Because one's on like channel 1 or something.
Yeah.
It's just way. It's like the way you say the
I
turntable.
kind of figured, but
Yeah, the ones and the
coming
twos.
out of Jeff's mouth, it just didn't sound right.
It just means both turntables.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly inaccurate because I don't have turntables back here.
If you wanna like do other stuff with that, you could say on the wheels of steel. That's another way to refer to the DJ. Another thing is say the selector, and when you want him to play a song, you say "Come down, selector." So "come down, selector" means basically play the track. So there's like different things because he selects the track. That's like more of a Jamaican thing, dancehall thing. But you could be the selector, Marcus.
Okay.
Right?
We're learning a lot today, Marcus.
I'm just soaking it all in, man.
And
I'm soaking this all in.
If you're really, really good and you're not just a DJ who like does weddings and that type of thing, but you actually know how to manipulate the vinyl at a whole new level, they actually consider you an instrument, like a musician, and the position you're given is called a turntablist. So there's some slang for you guys. So
Thank you.
okay, just trying to help you out.
Thank you.
And
I
now
feel
we're
much
even
more
more
relevant.
culturally relevant than ever, and
That's right.
we'll be able to reach about 500,000 more people now,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we can-
Or-
I could do
or-
another Jesus juke. There's a move on the turntables called the transform. Is a transform scratch and has a certain sound in it. But that reminds me of how Jesus can transform our lives.
Yay! Vocab, you're my
Oh,
favorite.
Man. Now we can take dominion over the DJ world.
That's right. That's
Okay.
exactly right. Okay.
So,
However, would we be able to reach DJs if it wasn't for Vocab
right?
giving us that knowledge right now?
Right.
Yeah, there's some tight Christian DJs though on the real.
On the real.
Oh yeah, serious.
Awesome.
Yo, there's a
On the
local
real.
last thing. There's a local dude, man. He's my homie. This dude is like bugged out, bro. I don't know how he does it, but if you're not looking at him and you're just listening to him spin and cut and all that, you like, oh, there's a really cool DJ rocking the turntables. Sounds nice. And then you go over to where he is and you look at what's actually on the table of what he's manipulating. This dude cuts, spins, does mixes with tape decks.
Wow.
And he has tape decks with pre-planned like joints on there, and he puts his fingers on the tape heads, like on the little parts, and not the tape heads. That's inaccurate. I don't know the name of the technology.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Little two things that go up that turn it, and he manipulates that.
Wow.
And it's insane what he can do with it.
Because nothing has a warmth like the sound of a cassette tape.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy though. He's really good. And I remember one time when I first met him, Ramsey, I'm like, yo, man, you do that because you were like way creative and just had different ideas. He's like, huh? No, we just poor. I guess all he could afford was tape deck, so that's how he learned how to DJ.
That's awesome.
But he's pretty sick, and he also uses the pause and the play and the stop button and the rewind and fast forward with it. It's just crazy. Anyways,
Wow.
enough about that. I tell no lie, though. I tell no lie.
Has he got something on YouTube?
Yeah, he does. You could probably look up DJ Ramsey
Maybe we can find something on the break.
Higgins, like RAMSEYHIGGINS, a.k.a. DJ Ruthless.
All right, Luke.
For real, homies.
Now, you started this show off about 30 minutes ago with a roar that you never got to.
I was just announcing that I was taking over the show.
Oh, okay. I thought
But
you
I
had
do have something. Yeah, no, I do. Yeah. Well, we
Great.
both do. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So there seems to be an epidemic lately, especially on social media, of Christians acting like they're TMZ.
Yes.
And Vocab, I told him we were talking about this. He's like, "What do you mean by that?" You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Only a little bit.
Okay, so basically, there's several dudes. Specifically, I'm not going to mention who they are, but there's people that are, TMZ. They make a living.
We'll just say Voldemort.
They make a living.
The name you shouldn't mention.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They make a living off of basically going after other Christians. Or no, I'm talking about. Sorry, TMZ makes a living off of going after celebrities, like following them around, wherever they go, like just trying to dig
Dishing
up
the dirt, man.
Yeah, just
Gotta
digging up-
find the dirt.
digging up whatever dirt they can to expose these people. And
Doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Right, exactly.
As
So
long as it's juicy, man.
exactly, that's the key. Juicy.
It's all about generating web traffic.
So there seems to be some Christians lately that seem to be doing that and not showing any concern for Christ's kingdom, but for their own kingdoms, And so we wanted to talk about that a little bit. Marcus, I know you have a lot to say, so I'm going to flip it over to you real quick.
Yeah, I just want to say that before I go get into this, a long time ago when I first got into open air preaching and stuff like that, I was really, really into this discernment blogging thing, like all the time. Like,
So hold on, can we define? I mean, I know
Yeah.
generally, but to those
Okay.
who aren't all up in the mix,
so let me just start off by saying that discernment is a good and godly thing
Yes.
that needs to be nourished and needs to be people need to be well skilled in. And so what we're talking about is taking discernment and perverting it in a way in which it's used for gossip and slandering of
Yes.
brethren, or where you attempt to you're forcing your view of somebody and you try to twist their words using discernment to make it appear as if somebody is saying something they never said or holds to a position they don't hold to. And so for this example, there was a lady who was accused of supporting the homosexual agenda and working with Russell Moore. And it turned out that almost everything that was said was a complete fabrication or distortion of what she actually believed. And in fact, she was asked about it, and her response on Twitter was, "I oppose homosexual marriage and abortion." I mean, that was her direct words. And so, but instead of saying they're wrong, they just continue to feed this narrative, whatnot. And so what happened was she was invited to a homosexual fundraiser or something, and she had her picture taken with some Christian homosexuals. And the rumor was spread that she was supporting homosexuality, when in actuality she was invited there because they asked for someone who did not agree with the position. And so she came to speak on behalf of Christian orthodoxy at this event.
Right.
And so anyway, that's a story behind it. But the problem is when you take that and you become just obsessed with this, and you know it's going to be a problem when on your website you put a countdown clock announcing the time you're going to expose someone in their sin. Could you imagine? If Pastor Jeff posted on his Facebook page, "Come on down to Apologia Church Sunday at noon, and we're going to enact church discipline."
Clock starts now.
Here's a clock, and you go to the Apologia website, and there's like a clock, and it's ticking, and like this actually happened. Like this sounds like satire, but it actually happened. And so we have to stop supporting that. Like even if honestly, even if it was 100% accurate, 100% true, we have to stop turning this into a game. Like this is like this when I first saw it, I didn't know any of the details or anything, but I was like, man, someone's sin is about to be exposed, and we've turned a countdown clock on the website. Like that is bad.
Yeah.
And so
It definitely doesn't follow Matthew 18, that's for sure.
no, not at all. And so that's my concern, is that we have even us. I mean, let's just be honest. Like we all read it. Like we were like, oh, what is it? You know? So like,
Yeah.
I mean, so even we're guilty of partaking in it, of like reading the tweets and following everything, and so like it's difficult to both the viewer and to not do that when it's presented in such a way. So I say like we're not innocent in this matter, but we have to be more cautious about like the stuff we share on Facebook. Like, do we have to go as crazy as we go when it comes to discernment stuff? I don't think so. I think, our primary focus on discernment should be in our local body, and the pastors telling their local body and teaching their local body what's good and what's false. But like these third-party websites that do nothing but cause strife and division and controversies, like, the Bible's very clear that about those who cause strife and controversy. In Proverbs, it says it's perverse, is the word it uses. And so we just have to be careful, with our own hearts when we read it. Are we enjoying it and whatnot? But yeah, look, you want to add some stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's Christian smut is what it is. It's garbage, and you're right. We shouldn't even be entertaining it. And I mean,
as we're entertaining it.
Yeah, as we're entertaining it. Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's crazy, but I forgot what I was gonna say when you said that.
I do know actually a little bit of what you guys are talking about. I wasn't sure because it wasn't okay, but now I do. Oh, so I got a friend named Chris Bolt, and he used to be with a website called Choosing Hats.
Yeah, we read his article.
Does some good thing on presuppositional apologetics. We've had him on the show a few times. You guys should follow suit and invite him on your show.
Yeah,
Chris Bolt, you'll like him. And he wrote an article about what you guys are talking about that I thought was pretty good. I like how he does that. He's a honest, straightforward guy, and he talks about these things. I don't know if you guys saw this. You may not agree with this one, but he actually wrote an article similar, not identical, about a year ago, kind of calling out the manner in which certain styles of presuppositional apologetics were being done on the internet and all that. Kind of like an open letter that I thought was pretty good myself. But he's kind of done it again with this case because I know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, let's get back. Let's go to that presuppositional apologetics later in the show because I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But I want Luke to finish because he coined a term.
Yeah, I am.
You coined a term.
I'm
about to drop it.
Going to drop it
right now.
And this is the term.
Pen and pad. Call the patent office. Got the TMs ready. Got the C with the copyright ready.
Here we go.
Okay, so before I do that, but I was just gonna say that I mentioned Matthew 18, and there's definitely a time and a place where we should be publicly calling people to repentance.
Absolutely.
And the individual that we're talking about should be publicly called to repentance. Yeah, I mean, the proper way to go about something like this is if you think someone's in sin, you should go to them privately. Like I said, Matthew 18, and then if they don't respond, you come to them with more people. If they don't respond, then you go, you take it to the church, so ultimately the way, if there was a legitimate issue with this lady we're talking about, the process didn't follow suit.
Luke, but they would say to that, but it was public.
Well,
the sin was public.
Right. It doesn't matter there's no distinction in scripture, right? It doesn't say, well, if it's a public sin, then this all goes out the window and you can just go after them publicly, and you know what I mean? That's well,
okay, so they would respond to that and say, well, have you ever privately gone to Joel Osteen?
Right.
So there is I think there is a time when you can just...
Yeah, no, I understand.
I did. I asked him what toothpaste he uses. Want to make sure.
If I had 5 minutes with Joel Osteen, that is the question I would ask him right there, Vocab.
Well, I don't want. I just want to say what I'm about.
He doesn't know what kind of. He wouldn't give you a straight answer as to what kind of toothpaste.
Use a sunshine brand.
I want to talk about what I'm for, not against.
Right. So look, I think there is a time for public rebuke of especially people who are out in the public and stuff.
Yeah, I agree, and I think,
but even then, it has to be very careful and meticulous.
Right.
Joel Osteen's kind of obvious.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's been called. If someone's probably been called publicly to repentance before, you know what I mean, and you're calling them to the same thing, that's a different story. But when you're hunting someone down that nobody knows what's going on,
that's the difference.
It's the big reveal, like you said, with the countdown clock.
Exactly.
And you're not giving them the benefit of the doubt. There's no Christian charity there.
Exactly.
You're not really even actually displaying patience.
Right.
You're not, there's all types of problems when you start doing this stuff.
All right, so Vocab's got the TMs ready.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Apologia Radio standing by.
First Peter 1:22 says, having purified your souls by your obedience to the truth for a sincere brotherly love, as we know in the Greek, that's phileo is the noun form of brotherly love. In this verse here, it's literally Philadelphian. So for a sincere Philadelphian love, and then it says, love one another earnestly for a pure heart. So the love there is agape, is the noun form, agapeo, for those that would criticize my use of the Greek. So my point is this: what we're seeing, and here's the term, we're seeing a lot of anti-Philadelphians.
And that does not mean you're not an Eagles fan.
It doesn't mean you're from Pittsburgh.
It doesn't mean you don't like the city Philadelphia.
Right. It's anti-brotherly love.
Very ironic name for that city.
Right.
But we're seeing that Marcus and I were talking about last night. Like, these people are anti-Philadelphian. They don't care about loving their brother. They only care about making their name famous. They only care about getting more traffic on their website, and they're willing to trash their brothers and sisters in Christ in order to do so.
Absolutely.
So there it is.
1 John 4:20.
You heard it here first.
1 John 4:20, and I'll use the ESV because I like that version. It says, "If anyone says I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar, for he does not love his brother, whom he has seen." Oh, sorry. For who he does not love, for he who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, cannot love God, whom he has not seen. And so the Bible is very clear.
I got one. My turn.
Go ahead.
Philippians chapter 1, starting at verse 9, going through 11, because it specifically mentions discernment. And look how Paul prayed that this congregation there, the Philippians, how they would have discernment. Listen to what he says. "And it is my prayer that your love may abound more and more, with knowledge and all discernment, so that you may approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ to the glory and praise of God." So notice how the discernment there is preceded by love that is abounding more and more.
Yeah, and the word used for love in most of these verses, other than brotherly love, is, of course, I mentioned agape, and the idea behind that is a sacrificial love. It's the love that Christ had for the church when he laid his life down for the church. It's the, when husbands are commanded to love their wives as Christ loved the church. It's agape. It's a sacrificial, like putting the other person ahead of you. And there's just a lot of that not going on. And social media, I think, is a lot to blame for that, because we've talked about this. It's real easy to sit behind the keyboard, right? You're not face to face with them, and just you can say whatever you want.
Everybody who has Facebook thinks they're Martin Luther, and they're going to start a reformation with every single post.
Right.
And some guys are just not that witty, and they're not that they're not Luther.
Their hammer ain't big enough.
That's exactly right. And
Not enough people see the door.
Here's one more verse before we close the segment, and it's Proverbs 16:28. "A perverse man spreads strife, and a slanderer separates intimate friends." And so that's what the Bible says about these guys who are causing strife and calls them perverse. And look, you are not being hated because you're speaking the truth. It's because you're being a jerk.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like,
exactly.
There's a difference.
Exactly.
Rudeness is not one of the spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's a good article on desiring God I posted a few days ago on my Facebook wall in hopes to spark a revolution, called "How Should Christians Comment Online?" They posted it July 13th, 2015.
That's such a needed article.
And you may not agree with every little thing in the article, but overall, it is great. I mean, it's really challenging and convicting. It says, for example, we should comment seldom, slowly, graciously. It's just good stuff, man. So read that if you get a chance.
Right on, man. Thanks. Maybe if you shoot that to me, we can take a look and share it for our listeners. So anyways, we'll be back here after the break. You're listening to Apologia Radio with me, the Bear, Vocab, and King Ginger. Stay on the other side. Welcome back to Apologia Radio. Jamming out to some Salty. Marcus remembers Salty, right?
Sunday school throwback, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That and McGee and Me.
Oh, yeah.
And the VHS tapes. Yes. Yeah. And the VHS tapes of Adventures in Odyssey.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, man.
What? McGee and Me, though. Remember? That was such a weird thing. Like the whole idea was just weird.
I know, but Christians were doing media then, man.
Yeah, that's
they were
true.
doing it. VeggieTales?
I do remember McGee and Me.
It was like some weird alien puppet or something.
No. He was like a kid that kind of looked like Macaulay Culkin a little bit. It was
That's
like
right.
Nick McGee or something. And
it was a cartoon.
he drew. He liked to draw.
Oh, that's what it was.
And his homeboy would. Maybe that was McGee. Was McGee the cartoon character? Yeah, McGee was the cartoon guy, and he would come alive out of the page.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Then they would go on an adventure. He was kind of like his Jiminy Cricket,
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
type of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of creative in a way.
Yeah, man. That must have taken a lot of time and money to do stuff like that. That was back when Christians put time and money into, media.
Okay, so I'm gonna go way back. I'm gonna see if you guys remember. Did you guys ever hear Patch the Pirate?
No.
That's fine. No.
Okay, so there was you grew up Baptist, didn't you, Marcus?
Yes.
I do know Salty.
Presbyterians.
P-S-A-L-T-Y. It was
that's
like
what-
a walking
Psalm
altar.
book. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Okay, so there was this guy called Patch the Pirate. They always used to come to our church, and my mom still has the records. And it was this dude, and he had lost an eye, and so he wore a patch. But he came they put on plays, and he was dressed as a pirate. Anyways, there's I don't know, there's 5 or 6 records, and my mom still has them, and I remember some of those songs still. But I didn't know if you guys had ever heard of them.
I thought you were going to play something for us, man.
I'll see if I can find something.
No, but I do have a question. Do you guys know what a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet is?
R.
No, the C.
I like it. I didn't know where that
God.
was going.
See?
I thought R was a little bit too easy for vocab.
see?
I thought that he wouldn't do that.
The C.
Okay, so we mentioned this article
Blink.
that Vocab the Pirate over here mentions.
Shiver me timbers.
How should Christians
You land
comment
lover. You salty dog.
on the sea?
Way to stay in character,
hands are
vocab.
So I'm just gonna read through these. Feel free to comment.
Get that
Well,
booty.
let's just it's broken up into 3, right? How should we comment? And there's 3 sections.
Yes.
So you're just going to read each Bible verse?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this first one says, how should we comment? Seldom. Proverbs 10:19. When words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains his lips is prudent.
Slowly. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. James 1:19.
And then graciously, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Colossians 4:6.
Yeah,
And-
when you post stuff on Facebook, man, and it could be a joke, and people comment all serious, no, and it's guys, it was a joke. It was just
That sounds like the beginning of a banjo song.
yeah, well, that's how I imagine those kind of Jesus juke comments sound in real life. It's just
Like the
that.
parents from Peanuts.
Yeah.
Actually, ironically enough, when I posted this article, it kind of got Jesus juked because
sure.
somebody went and put on there, good thing that the prophets lived before the internet and this article. That's what it said. It said kind of a Jesus juke a little bit.
Oh man. Can we just stop with the
goodness.
Jesus juking on Facebook?
Goodness gracious.
It's Facebook.
Yeah, I saw one really bad the other day, but I'm not going to talk about it. Okay, so
That's a good idea.
yeah, this one says the next segment or section is called "When Should We Comment?"
Thank. Yeah, it's saying give thanks.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a great reason to comment saying giving thanks. Which how often do you see that on social media interaction?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's usually like "Shut up, jerk."
That was very helpful. That was I thank you for your that kind of thing.
Yeah, so then it says encourage. We humans generally find it easier to criticize each other than to encourage each other.
True story.
Truth, right there. Clarify. If a post is confusing or sounds errant to us, giving grace is to first ask clarifying questions rather than immediately jumping to conclusions. Right there, that's huge.
That is the winner.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
A great thing to do is before you comment, you can private message a person, ask for clarity,
That's a great idea, yeah.
Or what about does any grammar Nazi laws apply here too?
Hey,
because you get
did
people
you hear
that are like,
Hold on, that reminds me of
it's-
another joke. Sorry. Did you hear about the guy who edited Hitler's speeches? Yeah, he was a grammar Nazi.
okay, all right, okay. Anyway, like grammar Nazis, like it's like grammar Nazis and Jesus
like it.
jukers are like of the same spirit, don't you think? Sometimes,
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
whether it's TO or TOO, like I don't know.
Whether it's Benny Hinn or Benny Hill.
But it says, well,
knows?
I mean that's kind of like that kind of matter. Anybody who does that is an idiot.
I'm just joking.
They need to be rebuked
No,
publicly.
I'm not. You're saying.
Wait, to end your sentence with a preposition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's like TO or TOO. It's still two.
Yeah.
Like it still says the exact same thing and means the exact same thing. Right? Am I the only one that's like
you're not
two
writing
or two is still two?
You're not writing a novel.
It's not like I said TWO when I should have said TO. It's just
Okay.
I'm missing an O. Okay.
Since we're talking
guys,
about this,
seriously.
this is
All
one
right.
of my biggest pet peeves, and there's two people that I love dearly, and they know who they are. That every time they type definitely, it says defiantly. And it drives me absolutely insane. I'm like, seriously,
man, that's not
please
my
spell
fault,
check.
man.
It's not you.
The spell check is going to give you the exact same. It's gonna be
Defiantly
like, it's
and
okay.
definitely are definitely not the same terms. Moving on.
But like, how do you spell check that? Because like, spell check's going to say you got it right.
You just look at what you texted. Okay. Moving on. The next one says correct, and then in parentheses gently.
I think the gently should be in capital letters, big and bold. Yes.
It should be gently correct.
Marcus, are you making a general correction?
In big and bold letters, yes.
Okay.
Giving correction should be quite rare. It says, I agree. I agree. Isn't this funny? Can you imagine, like, 100 years ago, people having this, like, if you would have told them we're having discussions about how to properly be sociable on something called the internet, they would have been like, what are you
It's like,
talking about?
yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be like saying, hey, you know what? 100 years from now, you're going to be interacting with people in different countries and different languages
Yeah.
instantaneously, and you need to make sure that you're not a jerk about it. They would be
Yeah.
like, what? Why would I ever be a jerk to someone who's in another country and I'm talking to right away? That would be amazing.
Well, it's like, writing a letter, writing a
Right.
book. I mean, they would have, I think, some ability to,
Yeah.
the concept. I mean, Martin Luther, maybe he could have read these sometimes. I don't know.
Martin Luther had some zingers.
Oh, he would have been fun on
Have
Facebook.
you ever heard of that website? It's like
Yeah.
Martin Luther automatic
Yeah.
insult generator or whatever.
They're good.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, dude. That's
But
not,
like
he
if
could have
you-
been a battle rapper right there.
Yeah, even if you look at like when Paul was writing like the Corinthians,
Right.
like if you think about like this is what kind of changed my attitude towards how we treat churches that believe differently and stuff. And I'm not saying like some churches are absolutely in error. Of course they are. But think about the Corinthian church. Like they were straight pagans. They had sexual immorality and all this stuff. And Paul greets them as brothers and sisters in Christ at the beginning of the letter.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if his attitude towards these people are gracious and love and kindness, like, why can't our blogs be written
Yeah.
in the same spirit and tone?
Yeah.
Towards even I mean, that's crazy, but they were homosexuals and sexual adulterers and all this stuff, and he says, grace and peace to you in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord.
Called them saints.
He did
Because he
call them
was an
saints.
anti-Philadelphian.
That's true. He was not an anti-Philadelphian. That makes a difference.
The last one, and this is, I guess, what we've been talking about. It says, "Do not start fires." And James 3:6, "The tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell." Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the gist of it right there, right?
Yeah, so speaking of like starting fires, presuppositional apologetics is a really good way to do that. What'd you say, Vocab?
Yeah.
Then you can just, be a jerk if you're a presuppositionalist?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you kind of have these disarming arguments and you just wield them recklessly, at everybody within distance and just keep on jabbing them. But I don't think that's the way you're supposed to proceed.
So how would you proceed if
Are
you're
you-
doing presuppositional apologetics?
Are we transitioning? Is that what's happening?
That was my attempt at a segue.
I want to
But
make
if you
sure.
say,
It was a good- it
if
was
you
good.
say,
Hey.
are we transitioning? It defeats the purpose of the natural segue.
I know, but I just had to make sure because, hey, everybody out there listening, check it out. Right now, we're switching topics from like the discernment bloggers and how to comment online to calling presuppositional apologetics, especially online.
I was trying to be real smooth there,
higher
vocab. I
standard
was
of
trying to be real smooth.
behavior.
I was gonna bring that in. I was gonna bring it in from 30,000 feet, and I was gonna land it just for you. And you just crashed the airplane right into the ground.
Nah, that's all good, man. I did the Data version from Star Trek. He has to like kind of get everything, on the nose and obvious. And are we now having a? Okay, so check it out, man. Yeah, I wanted to make a point if we had time today on this show about how us as presuppositionalists act, especially online. Because it's almost like you have cage stage Calvinists, you might have cage stage presuppositionalists, and all these new people now have these new powerful arguments, but it's real easy to become arrogant and haughty and then just recklessly wield it against everybody. And I think I see some of that happening, and I would like it to stop. So, for example, here's practical application of how I would push for this. When somebody is maybe someone does a debate or they do some apologetics, and let's say they're a presupper, they're in the camp. In my opinion, I don't think it's the job of every presuppositionalist to get online and tell them how they should have been more presuppositional. I'm not saying never correct or anything like that, but I see sometimes, in my opinion, where people will go after people. I think it's unnecessary. Like I've seen people. Because James White, for example, maybe he, quote, uses evidence, they'll actually go after him sometimes in certain cases.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that's needed really either. You're not presup enough to a fellow presupper. I'm not saying we can never talk about this, about how to be more consistent and all that, but it seems like it gets out of control. It's like people trying to out-presup one another, and it's almost, it really dumbs down the conversation. It's almost like a simplified version of presuppositionalism. You only have one or two questions and you ask them the whole time over and over again repeatedly, and that's the entire method. I don't think so. There's a lot more theology behind it. There's a lot more discussion, and there's a lot more that needs to happen in dialogue. And here's what I mean. Like, even when speaking to the unbeliever, I don't know if you guys have read the book Covenantal Apologetics, K. Scott Oliphant. You guys had him on before. Yeah. In there, he has examples of dialogues with unbelievers of different stripes and types. And he actually has a discussion with them where he's going back and forth and they're talking about these things. And he's trying to show here's presuppositional apologetics applied in a conversational context. And he's not just repeating himself saying the same thing over and over again, He's actually trying to have a dialogue. And even Van Til, he has some little tracks. Like he has one track where he's kind of imitating that he's having a discussion, but in the track he's kind of basically giving us a monologue to somebody, and so he'll say, he speaks very like folksy to them almost. He's like, I know that you think you might not have time for this. I know that you might have to go. Well, hold on, just listen one more second, fella. It's very like Holmesy, the way he speaks in this one track. I forget what track it is. I got to look it up. But it's very gentle and almost common. It doesn't jump in the realm of 1,000 a mile away philosophy and theology right away. He's just speaking the gospel in a presuppositional way, but in common conversation. And I almost feel like if Van Til could like get resuscitated for a minute and jump back online, I swear there would be discernment bloggers and presuppositional newbies who would jump on there and be like, you're not presuppositional enough because you didn't, like I swear they would do that to Van Til.
They talk just like that.
You know what I'm saying?
What you're saying is they're presup juking.
Yeah, to me, I see some of this. I feel like it's easy for us to become guilty of it. And I almost feel like we got to watch out because there's like a trendiness right now to like being neo-Calvinist, to being a presuppositionalist guy online, to some of these positions. There's a little bit of a trendiness. You find your little group, your little podcast, your little this, and all of a sudden you're like down with the kids. And as long as you're peeing out and everybody's facing out, peeing on everybody else on the outside of the tent, you're cool with each other, and this group over there is not Calvinist enough and this group is. And to me, I see some of that like tribalism and fracturing even within Reformed circles is new people kind of get some of this. And yo, man, the Lord doesn't only renew our minds, he does, but the mind is everything. It's how you think about things and other people. So I'm just saying, let's take a few steps back, be more holistic in our approach. Let's be a little mature, a little more slow, and stop trying to one up everybody with, showing your presuppositional muscles off or something.
So we got 30 seconds. Don't play devil's advocate really quickly, okay?
Okay.
And what if somebody is attacking? Is there a difference between defending the faith when someone's attacking the faith and having a conversation with an atheist who's genuinely asking questions?
You're saying in how you engage with the person?
Yes.
I think there should be some differences. I think Elijah would talk to a prophet of Baal different than he would talk to some non-Jewish Gentile he met.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As an example.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
I found some patch of heart.
Oh, nice. Patch him in.
Yeah. Yeah, on the other side, Apology Radio.
My heart cries out. You are my strength and shield, my great reward. I be beneath your wings.
See the cat with no peace, need to pack a piece of heat, but his peace decrease, cause his dirty flesh reeks, so seek the deceased. Don't be weak like treating those you meet with the greed and deceit. Beat the flesh down like rocky raw meat, make it tasty feet like a foot fetish freak. Please let us seek joy, gentle peace, please. Patience with the peeps, be meek when we speak. Faithful goodness and self-control. Don't go for delf like a solo show. Galatians 5:22-24. Oh, ha!
Wow.
Welcome back to Apology Radio. That was Vocab Malone live with the bear on the ones and twos.
That's right, man.
I'm just chilling.
This is never happening again. This is a once in a lifetime thing. So with that, we want to switch topics a little bit.
Something a little bit more serious.
Yeah. We're going to pull a data, as Vocab mentioned last segment, and switch it to something a little more serious.
It's still about brotherly love, though, actually.
Yeah, it is. So I'm going to pull this video up. Actually,
because that was something you're supposed to do before
you know what?
We started the segment.
I had it up before, and then I forgot that I took it down.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to talk about Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start it off, okay?
Yeah, go ahead while I pull it up.
So, as most of the world knows now, that Planned Parenthood was caught selling aborted babies' organs through an undercover operation that took 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a video of one of the top executive doctors for Planned Parenthood. And I said doctors with scare quotes, but you can't see the scare quotes.
Square quotes.
Square quotes. Yeah. And so anyway, so she was caught admitting that, hey, we can crush a baby's head in such a way that we don't damage the heart, and you can get the heart or you can get the liver, and it rightfully so, people were outraged and angered about it.
Yeah.
And I actually had a lot to say on this, because for me, I saw all the outrage for this, and I was just left scratching my head they have to kill the babies, and they've been killing the babies for 40 to 50 years. But this is what gets everybody riled up on Twitter.
Right.
This is obvious. A friend of mine a while back ago did a campaign for Stericycle, which was the name of the company that actually takes the medical waste, as they call it. It takes the aborted babies, and Stericycle is the name of the company that transports them to incinerators in North Carolina. And I've seen these. They weren't too far away from where I lived, and so they're these towering pillars. They look like actually the furnaces you would see in concentration camps. And you just see smoke and ashes coming out of it all day. And it is the burning of the medical waste, in scare quotes again. So that's the business that's been going on for 50 years. And my friend actually, they were actually using Ryder or budget rent-a-cars or something like that, and he actually was able to get budget or Ryder to stop leasing trucks to them.
wow.
One, because they were illegally using it to dispose of medical waste. They were just using non-refrigerated trucks and stuff. But so it was. I mean, it's just crazy. Like so like the fact that she's talking about this disgusting act of trading organs, and people were outraged, and it was almost as if the internet learned about abortion for the first time. And like I was just like, what's happening? Like why is that? Why does that bother us? But like the act of like murdering the child, not. Well, like I don't understand. It was kind of weird to me.
Hey, did you guys hear that Planned Parenthood they apologized?
They did.
Yeah, can I read you part of the apology?
Please.
Yeah,
Yes.
you guys will. It's like one of the things where so we don't want to cry, so we'll laugh. So listen to Cecil Richards' apology. In the video, one of our staff members speaks in a way that does not reflect that compassion. This is unacceptable, and I personally apologize for the staff member's tone and statements. As always, if there's ever any aspect of our work that can be strengthened, we want to know about it and take swift action to address it. Our top priority is the passionate care that we provide. That's Cecil Richards there.
Okay, why does she have
like-
to be compassionate
Right.
over what?
Right.
I mean, like you don't.
You don't want them to be compassionate, actually. You want them to be robotic. You want them to not have feelings.
Well, because like when you have the like forceps, like the kind of like the vice grips, and you like have them on the baby's temple, and you got to crush their skull. You got to make sure you do that in a compassionate way. Things like that.
But it's just medical waste. It's
When you
just
snap-
trading of organs.
When you snap the spine, like Kurt Gosnell, you got to do that in a compassionate way.
So is it only wrong because the tone? Like, is that what she's saying?
Yeah, well, of course
It's
they're
wrong.
not going to say that what they do is wrong. I mean, for them to call it compassion, of course, is a blasphemous misuse of the word compassion, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least they recognize there was something wrong about the cavalier way in which Homegirl was talking about selling human parts.
Yeah.
While
for
she's sipping
profit.
wine, eating a salad.
And,
Yeah.
and this wasn't like some staff member either. She's like high ranking, like some executive in Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, she's like high up there, and I mean the whole thing is crazy and sad. But I've seen a whole bunch, on the what you might call the left, whatever you call it, but in that blogosphere, that world, a lot of the media outlets are doing all this damage control of they're not really selling body parts.
Pathos.
And the edited version tells the real story. By the way, the people that released the video, the secret undercover video, also released an unedited version.
It's 2.5
So they're-
hours long.
Yeah. So they're really
And-
not trying to hide anything.
And
They're
they
the ones
put-
who released it.
And they put a frame count on the video just to make sure like nothing
Yeah.
was cut.
But you see these essentially, these apologists from murder jumping up and down, trying to like explain away what it is, on Salon or Mother Jones or whatever it is. And it's
Well,
crazy to see the defenses for
Their
this.
main defense is that obviously because they're not humans, that it doesn't count as organ trade.
It's tissue.
Yeah, it's just tissue. Although it didn't learn in like basic medical, like I think when I was in like high school science, a lot of tissue makes an organ, right? So you have a lot of cells make a tissue, a lot of tissue make an organ, and organs make a body. Like that's like basic.
Can I quote Dr. Nika Tola here?
Yeah, sure.
You're just kind of cognizant of where you put your graspers. You try to intentionally go above and below the thorax so that, we've been very good at getting heart, lung, liver because we know that. So I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below. I'm going to crush above. And I'm going to see if I can get it all intact.
Mm-hmm.
The reasons why, of course, is because then you sell.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, oh, yeah, we charge for shipping. But all the real costs are upcharged to shipping.
Yeah.
So like on eBay where something is $2.99, you're like, oh, great. And shipping's like $89. And you're like, well, hold on. That's kind of what they do, my understanding of how they sell the body parts. Because you're not really allowed to do it that way. But look at this one. She's asked about a price. This
But
is
they're a nonprofit organization, so everything they do is reimbursement
yeah.
because they can't make like that's how it works. So that's the dumbest, most ridiculous thing. Like answer, like if a nonprofit organization hires a janitor to come and clean the windows, it's just a reimbursement. Like everything's reimbursement. Like that's how that works.
Yeah. They were asked about a price, and here's what she said this is in the video. I would say it's probably anywhere from $30 to $100, depending on the facility and what's involved. So, I mean, there's like these little. Have you seen those little order sheets online where you like order the body part that you want?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, it should. Hopefully, it wakes people up and exposes the dark reality of this blood money of this industry. That's whole service is to kill people. I mean, we know abortion is bad. The reason why this hopefully is shocking is because we're hoping people see how bad the whole thing really is from A to Z. And this is also involved. Kurt Gosnell is another example. You just go down the list and say, look at what this produces. Is this something that we should allow in our society?
Okay, so here's the thing. It's obvious that she is talking about selling organs, right? And so this Pathos article that comes out and tries to defend it says, here's the deal. Selling body parts is illegal. Donating tissue is fine.
Right.
Okay, so that is a fallacy because a tissue and organs are two separate medical classifications, right? So either they are intact hearts composed of tissue, or they're just tissue. Like, what is it? Like, you know what I mean? And so it goes on to say, it's no different when people die and their perfectly good organs are donated to someone else who might need it. Now, wait a minute. Who's dying here?
Right.
Like when somebody dies naturally and they donate their organs, okay.
Right.
But these children are being murdered by their own mothers, and our response is, well, hey, look, I can murder you and, give the donation, we'll just donate your tissues. What if like a friend of yours needs a new heart and you just go and like shoot somebody and grab their organs, like, isn't that the logical conclusion of this? Like, it's okay, man. Like, the organs were needed for science, man. It's all about science.
It'd be like if the Nazis in World War II were killing all the Jews and then they donated their organs for science.
Yeah.
And said, well, it's the same thing. Like someone dies and they donate their organs, these people are dead. We're just, instead of wasting their organs,
oh my gosh,
we're going to use them for science.
Well, they did use their skin for lampshades and things like that. So yeah. But listen to U.S. federal law.
And people are appalled by that, right?
Yeah, rightfully so.
Right.
It shall be unlawful for any person to knowingly acquire, receive, or otherwise transfer any human fetal tissue for valuable consideration if the transfer affects interstate commerce. And under the guidelines, the woman is supposed to give her consent, and she's supposed to know all the risks, and, quote, no alteration of the timing, method, or procedure used to terminate the pregnancy can be made solely for the purpose of obtaining the tissue. It sounds like to me they're saying, under what I can see on this HHS website, is you can't do the procedure differently to save certain parts. You can't alter what you're supposed to do for it. But that's exactly what she's discussing doing. But there's no one that tracks this. There's no like agency or anything like that. It's not being tracked. It's just it's really like a wild black market.
And she admits that in the video. Like she says that this is not something that's openly discussed. It can't be, like it's discussed behind closed doors.
Obviously.
Right.
While eating salads.
Right. Drinking wine.
Yeah. So I just need to say something about the Republican Party for a minute, please. I just want to say, I have to say this. For the GOP to come out and be like, we're against this. We're gonna defund Planned Parenthood. We're gonna use this as an election, whatever. No, you're not. You've had 50 years to do that, and they're like, what is different about this than what's been going on for the past 50 years? Like it bugs me to no end to see the GOP. It's this fake self-righteousness that now all of a sudden we're going to change this. We're going to stop. We're going to defund Planned Parenthood. No, you're not. You're I said that on Facebook and somebody was like, well, you're not being like real post-mill optimistic, are you? And it's like, well, postmillennials optimism is rooted in what Jesus does. And I can be, as Gary DeMar says, a short-term pessimist and a long-term optimist. And so I do not believe that the Republicans, and I hope they prove me wrong, I really do, but I do not believe that they are going to do what it takes and to put in the fight and the sweat and the blood it's going to take to shut down Planned Parenthood's fund, even the funding, but to shut down Planned Parenthood at all. It's no way. And so I just want to, as we come into the election season, just because a candidate says they're pro-life does not mean that they're going to do anything about it. And some will. I believe that some might, but overwhelmingly, I'm very pessimistic on that issue.
It does look like Rand Paul sent out a campaign message,
Yes,
and
sir.
he's asking his supporters to sign a defund Planned Parenthood petition.
Yeah, and so when I said some candidates might do something, Rand Paul was definitely one of the ones that I think might have the best shot.
Yeah.
But
You're talking about the difference between ending it now and incrementalism.
let's just put it this way: as long as Fox News gives more time to Donald Trump than Rand Paul, we're in trouble. Like, I mean, seriously, like,
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right.
It's like, seriously, Donald Trump is the guy you guys are like big on now. Like Donald Trump, you're like, could you imagine? Like that would be like us spending more time talking about Joel Osteen than sound theology. Like, right? Like we're making a mockery of our own position. Like the Fox News is supposed to,
And then we'd sound like urban theologian.
yeah.
Sure.
Fox News is supposed to be on the side of the Republican Party,
Right.
and yet the legitimate candidates they don't give any credibility to, and the joke candidates they give all the time and to. Like, it's outrageous.
Yeah. So, are you done? Are you off your soapbox?
Sorry, man. Politics
okay.
seasons, man. Get
It's
used
okay.
to it.
I
Get
just-
used to it. 2016 is coming. I'm gonna go crazy.
I didn't want to interrupt you if you were still going. So,
No, I'm good, man.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm calm down now.
I wanted to read some more of this article from Pathos.
Let's do it when we come back from a break.
Okay, let's do it. Let me get a song.
While you're doing that, I encourage people to Google a Life News article about this. Obama admin faces questions over secret grant it made to Planned Parenthood abortion biz. And so there's actually, the Obama administration has went out of its way to support Planned Parenthood when different centers are going to get shut
Get
down.
out.
They come and swoop in and save the day with federal money. And they've
Get
done
out, Vocab. The Obama administration?
No, but just
Seriously.
not just the, hey, I support this, that, but the way they've done it sort of over the top.
They've done something crazy and over the top. Unbelievable, man.
So check out
Get out of here.
that article.
Apology Radio. Marcus wants me to shut vocab up apparently, and I forgot this was really fuzzy for some reason, so we're just gonna deal with it. So we'll see you on the other side. Listen to Beautiful Eulogy, singing Entitlement. Apology Radio. We'll be right back.
Limited in mind, limited in body, ruler of our own domain. Claim false authority, like we're the ones who rule and reign. The mentality of the majority is more than metaphorically morphing into a misinformed form.
Hi, I'm Matthew. And I'm Sam. And we have a new podcast called the Reformed Kidcast, where we go through the catechism with our daddy. It's a lot of fun and your kid will love it. Please go subscribe on iTunes. We'll see you on the Reformed Kidcast.
Talks about how they know on the day of the abortions, they know like what organ specifically that they need to harvest, and so that they'll basically have a staff meeting in the morning and sit down with all the doctors, all the hired murderers, I should say, and figure out which ones they need to save, which girls are going to be the best opportunity to save those specific organs. So they'll like plan ahead, and they'll sit there on the ultrasound and make sure they're getting those specific organs that they need to get for the day. And then one thing with where we left off with that video, she mentions we just started to get into like the whole breech discussion. And so she talks about how, babies naturally, they should come out head first. And she talks about how they will actually flip them around so they come out breech, meaning they come out feet first, so that they can harvest all those organs and then crush the head later. And then if you watch a video, that's what's called partial birth abortion, which has been outlawed. But regardless, it's all murder, and so it all should be outlawed. But so she talks very specifically about that. So here in this article from Pathos, we kind of mentioned this a little bit, but the author says it's no different than when people die, and their organs are donated. And then the end of that paragraph, I'm going to quote this. It says, "If I describe the process to you in detail, you might be disgusted, but the principle behind it is actually pretty damn noble."
Wow. Okay.
What is noble? What is their definition of noble? Noble is murdering somebody and saving their organs and selling them. That's what noble is?
Apparently, up is down, down is right, left is
right.
Goodness gracious. But I think the problem is that maybe like one of the good things about this is that you can't hide behind propaganda like choice and a woman's right to choose and it's tissue. Like you can't do it anymore. Like it's obvious. It's very clear that the people in the higher ups of Planned Parenthood know that they're murdering babies. And I think the best thing that we can do now is to not use soft language when discussing this anymore. Like we cannot use the language of the incrementalist, the soft labels, a woman, she's just in a tough position, or like all this stuff, or, like Abby Johnson is known for saying that the workers who work in the abortion ministry, they just need other options. It's like, no, like these people are murderers, from the mom who pays for the murderer to the murderer who works at the clinic, to the murderers who come and pick up the medical waste and burn them in the incinerator for Stericycle. The entire industry is a murderous regime. Right. And we need to stop using soft language as a way to try to win. Like we're going to lose the propaganda war on abortion if we don't come out and speak the truth clearly for what it is. That's the only way you can fight propaganda, is with truth. And coming up with your own softer propaganda is not the way to do it. Like it would never work. You don't defeat what was happening in Nazi Germany by not calling concentration camps. You know what I mean? Like that is exactly what they were, and that's how we won, is by exposing what was really there, and shooting through the propaganda and the lies and distortion. So, is there like a good film or something maybe someone could watch if they were interested in that topic? Babies Are Murdered Here. Oh, yeah? Yeah, we posted on the Facebook page. Oh, okay. And it's on YouTube for free completely. It's completely free. And babiesaremurderedhere.com. I think we should just ask people right now just to take that movie. It's free on YouTube. And send it to every politician that you know. Serious. Like send it to everybody on Twitter that is high ranking and has authority on this issue and has a platform for this issue. Send it to them. It is a great film, and it really talks about the truth of using the term murder for what abortion is. And this is what needs to happen now. And like now is a really good time, I think, while it's fresh on people's minds again. And so let me just say this. Let me offer some hope, because this is a thought that occurred to me. I think last week on the show I was talking about how Nineveh, like had 40 days to repent, and they did in 40 days. It was like that quick. And I think one of the good things about what happened this week is look at how quickly the conversation got turned against abortion nationwide. Like, it doesn't take long, right? So like, I think there's hope. Like, there's hope that God can still wake us up at any moment to our sin. And and it was what Doug Wilson said was really good. He says, if in this long chess game we get Ogrefell? I forget how to pronounce it, but we get Ogrefell and they lose Roe, then I will take a queen for a rook any day. And so like, I think that, like, in the long-term chess game, like, if we could get rid of abortion now, like, that would be a huge victory. And I think it can happen. We just have to be very deliberate and strong and organized. And, I'm going through the thing where Michael Brown is talking about just the movement and the organization and the structure the homosexual lobby had in the 60s, 70s, till 2015. And when I think about their organization and their skill, like, there's no one in Christianity right now that I could say is rivaling their intensity and organization in any other social issue: homosexuality, abortion, slave trade, sex trade, none of that. Like, no Christian has that level of dedication, and that's our judgment. So, this is a war. It's a war, and we need to fight it. And instead of sitting back and thinking everything's going to get worse, right, Vocab?
Yeah, I mean, I hope
that's right.
I hope these
you said right. Yep.
revelations stick in people's minds, because the media always underreports it. I mean, they're not able to get away from it totally, but they definitely, generally speaking, don't do it justice. And I was just talking to someone the other day about Kermit Gosnell, whom I've name dropped a few times in this. Already, people have forgot or even never heard, even people that I've talked to that are aware of these types of things. And he's the abortion doctor out there that was in Pennsylvania that they called his clinic House of Horrors. Now, we know they all are, but his was over the top.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want people to forget about him either. I mean, if we had time, I would talk about Gosnell. I mean, I know it's kind of changing the subject. I do want people to remember, though, what Planned Parenthood does and what they're doing, and the lack of compassion and cold-heartedness in this whole industry that they've created.
Have you seen Babies Are Murdered Here?
I haven't seen all of it.
We have like about 200 copies, so I'll give you like as many as you want when you leave.
All right,
for reals.
You. Sorry, Marcus.
Man, that's okay, man.
Sorry,
I'll get over it.
That's okay. Marcus has never listened to Urban Theologian.
I've never listened to Urban Theologian. That's true.
Well, geez, I guess you have to watch. You have to listen to about 8 of them, and then I'll watch the 2-hour movie.
Yeah, sounds like a good trade-off. Vocab.
So let me. Okay, I'm going to leave us out with this quote, and this kind of sums up, I think, what we're up against. And this is from someone named Amanda Marcotte. This was in the Pathos article. So she says, abortion is gross, no doubt about it. It becomes grosser the later in a pregnancy it gets, but so is heart surgery, so is childbirth for that matter. We don't deny people who need help in those cases because the help is gross. Nor should we deny people that help when it comes to needing abortion.
Comparing childbirth to abortion, the problem with abortion is not that it's gross, it's that it's murder.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not needed. Heart surgery is needed. Murdering your child is not needed.
Nope, not ever.
And so that's, like Marcus said, we need to change the discussion. They're trying to change the language, and we need to make sure that doesn't happen and call it what it is. So this has been another episode of Apologia Radio. I'm super excited because Vocab got to be here. As you noticed, the music was good today.
Because Jeff wasn't here? Is that what you were trying to say?
I didn't say that. You can check us out at apologyradio.com. You can check us out on YouTube.
Sign up for All Access.
Sign up for All Access.
$7.95 a month. Apologia TV and a whole bunch of other great stuff.
Vocab, have you signed up for All Access yet?
No, but I encourage listeners to also check out urbantheologianradio.com when you get a chance.
Come on, man.
We love Vocab and Urban Theologian, Pastor V, the Bob Father.
Mm-hmm.
You can also check him out at Roosevelt Community Church.
.org.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. It's been a great episode. I'm excited to hear it. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from Cal.